back to my channel, Side Hustle Seattle. So today I'm doing a video that I wanted to do for a long time, which is just an updated version of the video where I went over every RON platform that I could find. The first video I made was back in 2020. It was like December of 2020, where I went over every RON platform that I could find at the time. And so much has changed in this year and a half. There's new platforms, and platforms have left, pricing has changed, you know, things that people offer, the pros and cons have changed. There's been a lot. And so I wanted to make sure that if you're a newer notary, or maybe a RON that just doesn't have the time to sit and research all the platforms, that you have the most up-to-date information so you can make the most informed decision on which platform is right for you. Now, because this video would be very long if I just went over every RON platform that I could find right now, I'm gonna break it up in two parts. I break RON platforms into like 4 different categories. One is the independent side. So independent platforms are for independent notaries, which is platforms that allow you to bring on your own transactions. So they don't provide you clients. You can bring your own clients onto their platform and use their platform to do those notarizations. There's employer or contract platforms, however you want to say those. And those are the ones that provide you clients. There's platforms that are considered like a hybrid. You can bring your own clients and they'll give you clients. And then there's enterprise ones, which are really platforms where you can only use them if a company that you are working for also uses that platform. So you can't bring your own clients. They don't really provide you clients, at least the platform doesn't directly. It's more of just a way for a company or a signing service that you're using to help give you assignments directly. So those are those platforms. So today I'm only going over the independent side of the platforms. So independent side, or you can consider it, you know, notary source transaction side, or bring your own transactions. Platforms call it different things, but all it is, again, is platforms where you bring your own clients and they do not provide you clients. So that's what I'll be going over in part 1. Part 2 will have the hybrid platforms, employer platforms, and the enterprise platforms, and that will be next week. So definitely make sure that you stick around and watch next week's as well. So again, I separated because this video would be way too long, and so I wanted to make sure that it was a more enjoyable viewing experience by separating those into those 2 parts. Now, before I really get started, I have to give a shout out to a YouTube channel that I came across called Notary Socials, because the lady who's on it, and I apologize, I don't know your name, she went over every RON platform that she could find a few months ago. She went over like 45 of them that she, you know, looked online, gave some information, flashed them on the screen, and that is a lot of work. Like, as I was prepping for this video right here, it's a lot of work. So shout out to you, and you actually put me on to quite a few platforms that I hadn't heard of. And so some of the platforms I'm gonna go over today or even next week are direct result of the work that she did and the legwork that she did. So appreciate you. Check out her channel. I will definitely link that below. But let's go ahead and get into it. The way I go over platforms is I like to talk, of course, I'll give you the name of the platform, maybe a little bit jargon, but I like to go over the pricing structure and the fees. I like to go over where it's available at, assuming I'm able to get that information, and then some pros and cons. Keep in mind, I don't use all of these platforms, so I get most of my information from like watching other YouTube videos or looking on the internet, or if I'm lucky, able to talk to the people that work at these actual platforms. So sometimes I've done interviews with people who work at these platforms and things like that, so I have some more information than you can get just on the website, but that's not for all of them. So I will be upfront when I don't know certain information. My suggestion is, if you want to know anything specific about the platform, always reach out directly to that platform. There's typically always a way to reach out via email or phone to get the information that you need. So I absolutely had to get my laptop out because I'm like, as much information that I have to go over, there's no way that I was gonna be able to remember all of this information. So you may see me looking down at my computer. I'm sorry, I just have to read off the information, but as much as possible, I'm gonna try to put things on the screen and, you know, pictures, videos, whatever, to help make it a better viewing experience so you have that information. So let's go ahead and start off with a platform called PandaDoc. Now, PandaDoc, or PandaDoc Notary, actually is the company that acquired Live Notary. So Live Notary used to be a platform. It was actually, I'm pretty sure, the first platform that I signed up for and I used when I became a RON. They got acquired back in, I think, April by PandaDoc. And PandaDoc is a company that's been around for a while. And not that I should compare companies, but think of it like a DocuSign, right? PandaDoc is a platform where you can do, you know, electronic signatures and document creation and invoicing and things like that. That's what PandaDoc is at its core. Now, they went ahead and acquired Live Notary, and the people who created Live Notary is still part of the platform, which I think is great, because I thought Live Notary was a great platform. And now they've created PandaDoc Notary. So you get pretty much all of the features of PandaDoc just in its natural state and PandaDoc Notary, so it makes for some pretty good value that we'll talk about in a second. So let's go ahead and let's talk pricing. So as far as the pricing goes, it is $59 a month, so $60 a month. It is $10 per transaction, and the more volume you do, the less it costs, essentially. So if you have significantly high volume, you can get some discounts when it comes to your monthly cost or your transaction cost. The good thing about it though, it is just $10 per transaction, not $10 per notarial seal, not $10 per stamp, just $10 per transaction. So even if that transaction has, 2 documents, 5 seals, whatever it is still just at $10, which is a huge value add. Now, as far as availability goes, it's available pretty much most places that have RON available. So there's 36 states that I believe have permanent RON laws, and it's available in the majority of those states. They don't have the states just listed out on their website, so of course, make sure you do your research and due diligence to figure out exactly which platforms it's available at, but it's going to be in most of them. When I was going through states' websites that did list platforms that were compliant, it was on a lot of them. So again, if you don't know if it's compliant in your state, you can always reach out to your state, or you can reach out to the platform directly. Now let's talk pros and cons. So pros and cons of this platform. Like I said, one of the biggest pros is that you have access to everything that PandaDoc has to offer. And it's a very robust platform when it just comes to like digital document creation and electronic signatures and things like that. There's a lot of things that you can integrate into the platform. You can integrate like different calendars. You can integrate payment processing systems. So let's say you want to charge your client, offer on platform, it doesn't really matter. You can create an invoice through PandaDoc. You can, integrate in PayPal or QuickBooks or whatever it is that you use to process payments, and you can do it directly through their system, right? If you want to create a document from scratch, if you want to create a document, if you just want to have a document signed without it needing notarial seal, you can also do that through the platform. So I like that you get access to both. I don't think there's many platforms where you get that much, robust creation of documents all in one. Another thing that I absolutely love is that it's only $10 per transaction, not $10 per seal. So you'll see in a lot of platforms that we'll talk about that they charge you, $10 per seal plus 5 for each additional, or whatever the case may be, which means if you have a document that has 2 seals, you're paying $10 for the first one, $5 for the second one, which means you as the notary are paying $15. In this case, it's $10 per transaction, regardless of pages, regardless of seals. So if I'm doing a loan signing and it has, 100 pages and 5 notarial seals on it, I'm still only paying $10. So it is amazing value for what you actually get. And I think it's a great platform, especially if you're going to be doing loan signings. Even if you're not, $10 per transaction actually really isn't that bad. So if you're in a state that allows you to charge $25 per seal, you're still netting out at least $15. With this price, which is really good. They also give you a free electronic notarial seal, which a lot of platforms do now, and they have a mobile app, which signers love when people have mobile apps because they want to sign on their phone. So big value adds for this platform. As far as cons go, there really isn't many cons. I would say the biggest one is more of an anticipation of a con, which is it's a newer platform. I think it launched April, May, which is newer platforms tend to change a lot, right? Like the way the platform looks now is not how it's going to look in 2, 3, 4 months. They're going to be iterating on things will be changing, they'll be fixing things. So don't expect it to have every bell and whistle that you may want. Those things will come with time. So it may not be the perfect platform for you right now, but it doesn't mean it won't be that in the future, but it's just something to be aware of. So the next one we have to touch on is Cyberize It. Cyberize It, I've done a dedicated video on before. Shout out to Amy. Amy's great. She's the one who actually created the platform. But Cyberize It, I will always describe as a platform for notaries by notaries, meaning that it's really a platform where they took everything that a notary has said that they've wanted in a RON platform and put it into this platform. So it does have a lot to offer. But before we go into what it has to offer, let's talk pricing, let's talk availability. When it comes to the pricing, it varies depending on how long you want the contract for. So you can pay monthly, you can pay quarterly, biannually, and you can pay annually. The longer out you pay, the cheaper it is per month. So it kind of starts at like $40 per month. And if you get it for a year, it's $240 for a year, so it becomes $20 a month. So it's cheaper the longer out that you get it. So there's going to be a monthly cost, but there will also be a cost for transaction. So let's get into the cost for transaction. It's $11.99 for your first seal, and then it's $1 for each additional seal. So let's say you have a document that has 2 stamps on it, or needs 2 stamps. You pay $11.99 for the first one, $1 for the second one, so that would be a $12.99 transaction fee. And then there's some other costs that you may incur. So it is $3 if you need more than 4 signers, which may not happen all that often for you. So let's say you have 4 signers, but you need a 5th signer on a document, whatever it is, you'd pay $3 extra to host that additional signer over 4 signers. And then you would pay $5 if you need an in-house witness. So let's say that you're doing a notarization and it requires a witness, but your client can't provide one, and you're like, okay, well, I need to get one from the platform. You would pay $5 if you need to use somebody from the platform to be a witness for your document. So that is kind of how the fees break down. More likely than not, the only ones that are going to actually pertain to you are the first seal and the second seal. One of the things I love about this platform is it is a great platform for people who are in states that don't let you charge a lot for, remote online notarization. So there's some states that only let you charge $5, $10, whatever it is. Some states let you charge $25, which is fantastic, but it's not all of them. And when you're in those states that only allow you to charge $5 or $10, and every platform has a transaction fee, you kind of get priced out, you know what I mean? So, in this case, this platform charges you $11.99 for a transaction fee, but if you're in a state that only lets you charge $10, you're losing money. The thing about this platform though, is regardless of what your state allows you to charge, you'll always make at least $25. How is that possible? Okay, so I consider it, I'm gonna say it's a gray area. I don't think it is, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it's a gray area. So in this case, remember, your state only allows you as the notary to charge a certain amount. They don't regulate what the actual platforms are allowed to charge your client. So the way ENotarize does it is ENotarize will charge the client, your client, let's say you bring them onto the platform, $36.99 for that first seal and $10 for each additional. So let's say that they have, 1 document, 1 seal, they're going to charge them $36.99, and you as the notary will get charged $11.99 for that transaction, and you keep the difference, right? So you'll get $25 for doing that notarization. In other words, let's say they're bringing on 2 documents, 2 seals, they'll get charged $36.99 for that first one, $10 for that second one, and so they'll get charged $46.99 for that transaction, and you as the notary will get charged $11.99 for that first seal, $1 for the second one, so you're getting charged $12.99, they're getting charged $46.99, you'll make that $34. So even if you're in a state that only allows you to charge $5 for that raw notarization, $10 for the notarization, you're able to make substantially more because you are not the one charging them, Cyberize It is. Okay, so we have to talk, of course, pros and cons of Cyberize It, because I think there's a lot of pros and there are a handful of cons, as there is with any platform. So let's go ahead and let's start with the pros. So some of the pros that I really like are, 1, there's 24/7 technical support. Now, if you're a current RON, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but it's definitely happened to me. You're in a session, maybe it's later at night, and something goes wrong, right? It freezes, it glitches, something's just happening, and you're trying to reach out to support, and of course they're offline because it's after work hours, and you're just okay, well, it's really nothing I can do in this moment. Maybe switch to another platform if I have it. But in this case, there's 24/7 technical support, which is definitely something that I think is an undervalued thing that platforms have, right? Support is so important, especially when it comes to technology. So the fact that they have it 24/7 is huge. Another thing that I love with this platform, they have pre-made marketing tools. So they have essentially ready-made templates for businesses to be able to use to market. So they'll have things where you can input the name of your business, or input your picture to be able to put on your website, to be able to put on business cards, to be able to put into advertisements. Because a lot of times people are like, how do I market my business? How do I get more stuff? And you have to do that with different marketing tools and templates and wording and etc. And if you're like me, I'm not good at marketing. I will be the first to always say marketing is not my strong suit. So the fact that they already have these pre-made for you to kind of just cut and paste so you can use it on your business and on your website, I think is absolutely fantastic. Another thing is, every now and again, there will be times where they will have notarizations to do that you can take advantage of and make money from, or they'll have opportunities for you to be a witness in somebody else's session and make money from. Like I said, you get charged $5 if you need to use a witness from the platform. Well, you can be that witness, right, for somebody else. If somebody else needs a witness, they can go ahead and put a request out, and if you're available, you can take that and get charged $5 just to be a witness on that session. Or again, if there's a notarization on the platform and they need a different notary to take it, you can use that as well. I think there's a little bit more few and far between, but that opportunity is there, and I think that's a huge plus. Of course, they give you the free electronic notarial seal, which I also think is great. We talk pros, we absolutely have to talk cons. So one of the things that I think could be seen as a con is because it does offer so many things that you can take advantage of, it can be overwhelming. Like, let's be honest, like some people don't like having a lot of options. I'm like that in some stuff. Like, I hate having a lot of options of like things in my closet. When I have too much in a closet, it stresses me out, right? Some people can be like that with the platform. When you have too many buttons to click, too many options, too many ways to customize, it's just overwhelming. And sometimes you may just want a platform where it's like I click 2 buttons, I get into the session and I go. And if that's what you like, cool, do it. But this is definitely a platform that's going to give you and offer you a lot. And if for you, that is not something that you necessarily value or necessarily enjoy, you may see that as a con. I do think it leans heavier into people who are really good at technology, a little bit more technologically savvy, just based on how the platform kind of operates. But again, I do think a lot of the features that it offers are fantastic. Those just may not be for everybody. So I put that in the con section, but it's a con with an asterisk, really. It's more like a con because you may not like having everything, but it's nice that it does have everything. So I'll leave it there. So the next platform I want to talk about is a new platform, at least new to me, and that is Notary.io. I'm not sure if some of you guys use that. If you do, drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat, because I am curious to see what that is like. But Notary.io is a newer platform that I have come across. Now, the pricing is a little bit interesting, so I definitely want to talk through that. So first things first, there is a $100 setup fee, and what you get with that $100 is you get 5 prepaid sessions. So essentially you get 5 notarizations that you get as part of that setup fee. You also get free access to notary training. So, the 5 transactions are valued at $80, the training's valued at $20. So kind of get your money's worth, you will, for that $100 setup fee. In addition, they are waiving the monthly fee. So as of right now, there isn't any monthly fee. They haven't made it clear if there will be that monthly fee. And if you need to get your digital certificate through them, it is $25 for a 2-year certificate, which is very low. They don't actually specify if you can bring on your own digital certificate that you already have, or if you have to get it through them. But if you do have to get it through them, it's only $25, which really is nothing in comparison to the current cost of digital certificates. The one thing that stood out to me though, it's a $16 fee per transaction, which is high. Like that's substantial. I think that's one of the highest transaction fees that I've ever seen. So I'm not too sure about that, but let's talk about that more when it comes to the cons. Now, availability wise, it's only available in Texas. So this is a platform that is only available for remote online notaries currently in Texas and nowhere else, at least according to the website. So we have to talk pros and cons right now. So I think one of the pros though is if you're not currently a remote online notary, they will actually kind of handhold you through that process. So when you sign up, you kind of get assigned to like an onboarder is what it seems like. And they'll walk you through how to submit the application and what you need to do and how it works and all of that, which is good because I know when I was becoming a notary, it can be confusing. When I was becoming a remote online notary, same thing. Like sometimes this can be a really confusing process. So it's nice to kind of have somebody who's guiding you through that process. So that's a great thing. And they also give you a free electronic notarial seal, which as you've seen already, is pretty standard for a lot of platforms nowadays. And then I like that, the digital certificate isn't expensive at all if you do decide to get it through them. With that being said though, let's go ahead and talk some cons. One of the cons is it looks like they use Adobe for all of their document signatures, which isn't bad. Adobe's cool, but they really stress you have to be very comfortable with using Adobe in order to be successful on the platform essentially. So I would just say not the biggest con if you're already used to it, but if you're not, it's one of those things you really have to get used to in order to use this platform because that is the main thing that you'll be using as you're doing this document creation or template tagging or whatever it is or however it's built into this platform. And I think the biggest con is the transaction fee. $16 is substantial, and it's not, let me back it up, it's not really even a transaction fee, it's per notarization is how they say it on the website. So you pay $16 per notarization, which is a lot. It's like one of the highest, I think, transaction fees I've seen from any platform, or the highest cost per seal that I've ever seen for a platform. So I'm trying to figure out like what the use case would be, or like what the target audience is. Because it's only available in Texas, I'm not sure how much you're able to charge. You have to be at least able to charge $25 per notarization, otherwise it wouldn't work out. But even if you're doing a loan signing, let's say you're doing a loan signing and it has 4 notarizations, you're paying $64 out of pocket. Like, that's a lot of money out of pocket. So I'm curious how they like kind of justify that cost and what those costs would look like what's the value add, what's the prop. My suggestion, and you know, if you want to use this platform, fantastic. If you own this platform, I would love to talk more about this pricing structure. But if you're in the state of Texas, I think there's some other platforms that may work for you a little bit better. So let's go into a few more. Okay, so the next one we have to talk, DocVerify, my fave. I went back, I was looking at my old video when I did my first one, and I was like looking back through my DocVerify section of it. I was not happy with them for no reason. Like, they did nothing to me. I just started looking into platforms and I was going in on them for no apparent reason. Anyways, let's go ahead and go into it. Okay, so let's just talk pricing, right? So when it comes to pricing, it is a $125 setup fee, and it's anywhere from $75 a month to $65 a month, depending on how you pay. If you pay monthly, you're paying $75 a month. If you get the yearly plan, you get a little bit of a discount, and that goes to like $65 a month. And with those plans, you get credits already. So you get 32 credits a month if you go with a monthly plan, and with the yearly plan, you still get 32 credits a month, but you get them all up front. So you get all 384 credits as soon as you sign up. Now, this is a credit-based system, which means in order to perform transactions, you will need to use those credits in order to do those transactions. And the way that they break out the credits is like, it's 4 transaction credits for a single document and 8 transaction credits for a packet. Now, they don't specify what constitutes a packet. Like, is a packet anything more than 1 document up to infinite documents? Or is it a certain number of seals? They don't really say that much. And I try to do a little bit of digging by like emailing, and they wouldn't give me too much information, so I'm not sure. But if you use the platform, please let me know exactly how that works. Now, in addition to the cost of the transaction credits and things like that, you also have to pay for KBAs or ID verification. So it's $2.25 for KBAs and ID verification. So you'll pay, you'll use your 4 transaction credits, and then you'll pay $2.25 to do the KBAs and verifications and things like that. And those seem to be like separate types of credits. I think they consider those like tokens. Now, I don't love credit systems. I never have. I think there's some platforms that do them well. I just think overall, it's just too much. Like, don't make me purchase credits. Just let me purchase or let me just charge my card, right? After the fact. But the best way to think about it is, you pay $65 a month and you're getting 32 credits a month. That equates to, 8 single document transactions that you can do per month with those credits, or 4 loan signings that you can do, or packet style notarizations that you can do per month with those credits. Now, you can always purchase more credits, and the more credits you purchase, the cheaper it is per credit. So I will just flash that on the screen so that way you can see it. Now, I know that you have to get, of course, a digital certificate. You can get it directly through them. If you get it through them, it's $100. But one thing they did change is you can also bring your own. So before, when I first made this review, you had to get the digital certificate through them. Now, if you already have one, it says that you can bring one of your own. So you don't need to get an additional one. You can just use the one that you already have, which I do like. Shout out to you, DocVerify, for that, because that is great. Thank you for changing that. Now, let's talk availability. So, like I said, this one is pretty much available in every state that has RON available. It's been around the longest. It's probably the most recognized one that you can have. It's going to be available pretty much everywhere that RON is already available in, so that is a good thing. Okay, so we have to absolutely talk pros and cons when it comes to DocVerify. Now, there are some pros. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just pretend like there's nothing good going on with the platform. That would be completely unfair. So a few of the things that I like, if you actually go through the platform, it is very customizable. Like, there's a lot that you can actually do with the platform as far as integrating it into your business. Like, you can, there's API integration, there's ways to add your custom branding and things like that to make it a little bit more of a integrated experience with whatever user that you have. I honestly think in a lot of ways, it's a better platform to use if you have an enterprise than it is to use if you are an independent notary without a business and without additional notaries on your team, quite frankly. And I think just because a lot of their value add comes from a lot of things that you would want as far as like different CRM tools and integrations and analytics that you kind of get when you have that enterprise package, which are cool when you're an independent notary, just not as useful. So I do think there's a lot to offer, but maybe not so much on the independent notary side. But I know I said this was pros, but I'm telling you what I think it's not. So another thing I do actually like is it is widely recognized, right? Like I said, it's one of the first platforms that people end up learning about. It's definitely the first platform that I heard about when I became a RON. And so that's good, because if you're working with a company that's giving you loan signings, they're giving you business, more likely than not, they would be comfortable with you bringing your client or their client onto the DocVerify platform. So if your state does allow RON, more likely than not, they will allow DocVerify, and I think there is something to be said for that and for them having that notoriety. But we do have to talk cons, right? And the cons for me is because it's an older platform, in a lot of ways it can seem a little bit antiquated. I know they've made some changes, which has been great, but the platform in itself seems a little bit outdated, just in the user interface and kind of the way that the platform flows. I also don't love that there's only email support. It's just, at the end of the day, it's technology, right? So things break, email's just not quick. It's never going to be the quickest way to get back to somebody. So if I have a problem with my client right then and there, I don't want to hear back 48 hours from now. I want to hear back now, but that's not just a slight on DocVerify. A lot of platforms are like that. But that's something that I would hope that they will bring in as time goes on. And then the main thing is more of just the per month and per credits. I just don't like credits. I've never liked them. Just charge my card if you want to charge me. Don't make me purchase credits ahead of time. I just think that it's too much personal investment for me up front for something I don't always know right away how many times I'm going to use it. So that's the main reason I don't like per month and credit charges. But like I said, there are some platforms that do that really well that you'll see, and some that don't. And in this case for me, I think it's a little too high of a monthly cost to also need credits. Okay, so the next platform we have to talk about is SIGNiX. SIGNiX to me, it's DocVerify and SIGNiX are the two platforms I saw when I first signed up for RON. So it's also a platform that's been around for a while that also has some of that notoriety. Now, when it comes to pricing, there's two different kind of pricing tiers. There's a 3-year agreement or 1-year agreement. So in this case, let's talk about the 1-year agreement, because more likely than not, that's the one that you all would be purchasing and interacting with. So when it comes to the 1-year agreement, it is $449 annually per user, which I think comes up to $37 per month. I did not just do that math in my head. I definitely had seen that number already prior to this. I think it comes out to about $37 a month. Now with that monthly cost, there are some transaction fees. So it is $10 for the first seal, and then it's $5 for each additional, up to $60. So it's $10 for the first seal, second for the additional. So if you have a document that needs 2 seals, you'd be paying $15 for that. That's the worst thing in the world. Honestly, a lot of platforms are kind of set with that same structure. But again, just something to keep in mind of, depending on how much you are allowed to charge in your state, $10 for first seal, $5 for the additional may be a little bit too hefty for you if you can't charge that much in your state. But the good thing is they do cap it. So if you have, say you're doing a loan signing and there's a bunch of different seals, or there's a bunch of different things that you're doing, or you're just doing a lot of kind of transactions in one session, it'll still cap out at $60, so you will never pay more than that in transaction fees in any one transaction. So that I do like. Now, when it comes to availability, the availability, for the most part, it's available in the majority of states that have permanent RON laws. Like I said, it's a platform that's been around for a while. More likely than not, if your state lists out platforms that are available for it, you're gonna probably see SIGNiX. So if you are looking to use the platform, you can of course always reach out to them, see if it's available in your state, but more likely than not, it will be. So let's talk pros and cons. One of the pros that I actually really like for the platform, outside of it just being more widely recognized, is that you do get a free digital certificate. So if you've ever had to purchase one on your own, they're anywhere from $62 to $199, really depending on how long you get it for. So this is free. So I think that is a great value add for you, that it's one less thing that you have to get, and it's something that is provided for you. I've also heard from people that have used the platform that as far as the user interface goes, it's not too bad. So I like a good user interface that's a little bit easier to use, so that is nice. Now from a con standpoint, they only do cloud storage for the video storage for the transactions up to 90 days. So in a lot of states, you actually have to keep that for 10 years. So you're gonna have to purchase some sort of separate external hard drive in order to house all of those video recordings of the notarizations that you did, because they're only holding it for 90 days, or find whatever other way that you want to store that. So that's one of the things that I think is a con, because a lot of platforms will store it for 5 or 10 years or whatever it is for you as just part of the platform, even ones that don't charge you a monthly fee. So it's a little bit disappointing to see that it only holds those for 90 days. In addition, you can only do 1 year or 3 year agreements. I feel like you ask a lot of it. That's a lot of commitment. So I wish they had more of like a monthly cost to it instead of you having to choose a 1 year, 3 year agreement. So that's one of the things that I would definitely consider. A next platform I want to talk about is secured signing. Now, secured signing is a platform that I have done a dedicated video on this channel, so feel free to check that out if you want that information. But it's a platform that I feel like does a good job when it comes to a monthly fee and makes you buy credits. So they have both a monthly fee and you have to purchase credits, but I think they do it in a better way than a lot of other platforms. Again, I don't love credits, but if you're gonna have to do it, at least do it well. And I think they do it well, so let's go ahead and get into it. So in this case, they charge you $9.95 per month. So that's just a recurring monthly fee to use the platform. And when you're actually doing transactions, that is when the credits get applied. So let's go into how those kind of credits break down. So it's $5 per 30-minute session, $3 for ID verification, $1 for KBA, $1 per seal, $1 per document. A better way to think about it is your standard, general notary work transaction. So, your 1 document, 1 seal, 30-minute session, it's gonna cost you about $11.50. And the good thing about the platform is there's a calculator that'll help you kind of, drag and drop your different values to figure out how much a transaction would actually cost you, which I like. If you're going to have credits, please also have a calculator. It just makes it easier so you don't have to do the guesswork and that math. When it comes to availability, it'll pretty much be available in any state with permanent run laws. It's available in most states with permanent run laws. So again, if you don't know if it's available in your state, ask your Secretary of State or whoever gives you your commission, or reach out to Secured Signing and they can give you that information as well. So let's go ahead and talk pros and cons. So one of the pros that I like is they also give you a free digital certificate, which I love. Please give more free digital certificates like platforms. I think that is fantastic. So if you don't have a digital certificate, you don't need to buy one, because they will be providing that for free if you sign up for that platform. If you already have one, of course, you can go ahead and just use your own, but you don't necessarily need to. Another thing that I think is a pro is that it's a low monthly cost. Again, you're already having to essentially pay for credits. So if you're gonna pay for credits and charge me monthly, at least have it be low. So $10 is palatable, right? It's one of those costs that it's like, you don't always want to pay a monthly cost, but if you're gonna have to pay it, let it be like less than 2 cups of coffee. So I like that it's only $9.95 per month. A con though, I can't treat them any differently than I treat DocVerify. The credit system, like just charge my card, please. But that's my main con, is that you still have to purchase credits to do the transaction. It's only $11.50 for the transaction. Again, pretty standard for a transaction fee, but you do have to purchase credits in order to make that transaction. So I do consider that a con. So the next platform I want to talk through is actually a new one, and it's called Notary Hub. Now, there's a lot of interesting things going on with this platform, specifically with pricing. So let's just go ahead and start with that. So first things first, there's kind of 2 different types of subscriptions. There's the 1 year and there's the 4 year. For a 1 year subscription, it's $120 for the year. For the 4 year, it's $240. So obviously you get significantly more value if you decide to get it for longer and get it for the 4 year than to get it for the 1 year. But what's interesting is the way that they pay you per transaction. So in this case, you actually cannot charge your client whatever you want. They charge the client specific amounts, and you just get a percentage of that amount. So the way they say it is they will charge your client, your signer, $21 for the first seal, $15 for the second seal, and you will get 75% of that amount. So let's say you have somebody who just wants 1 document, 1 seal, they charge them $21, you get $15.75. If you have somebody who has, 2 documents, 2 seals, they'll charge them $36, you'll get $27. Now, I don't know if I've seen a platform do it like that, at least not one in a while, that just does a percentage. And I'm trying to figure out if I like it or not. I know one thing is, I don't love it if you're allowed to charge $25 per notarization, right? Because you're losing money. Like, there'd be no reason to use this platform if you're in a state that allows you to charge $25 per seal, because you're naturally just going to be making less. But if you're in a platform or if you're in a state that only allows you to charge $10, then you're making more. You're making 50% more for that first seal than you would have otherwise. So I do kind of like it for that, but it's interesting for sure. Definitely something a little bit different. Now let's talk through where it's actually available, because it's only available in like 5 or 6 states. So it is available in Texas, it's available in Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Virginia, and Washington. So if you're not in those states, unfortunately, it is not available in your state as of right now. Now, pros and cons wise, one of the pros that I do like is they do say that there are some marketing opportunities to help you market your business. And they do have a little bit of a line in there that says there may be opportunities for them to provide you clients. There may be those moments where they have clients that they could provide you. Now, the reason I didn't put this in the hybrid platform section that'll come out next week is because anytime they're like maybe, just means that they don't have the volume to really make it substantial enough. So, you know, who's to say how often you'll get clients provided to you, but the fact that there's even that opportunity, I still think is a pro. As far as cons go, I think one of the biggest cons, of course, is that you can't charge whatever you want. So this platform doesn't really make sense if you are able to charge $25 per seal in your state. But it can be for other people. But I still consider that a con, that you don't have that autonomy. Now, another con is that it looks like you have to get your digital certificate through this company that they partnered with, which is like SSL.com, which I've never heard of. It's not clear, at least from the website, if you're able to bring on your own digital certificate that you already have. If you're not, that's definitely a con, because I've never heard of SSL. I would imagine most people haven't gotten their digital certificate through them, so nobody wants to have to pay that additional cost if you already have one. And the cost is like anywhere from $65 to $195. If you, depending on how long you're getting that digital certificate for. So I do consider that a con as well. But let's go ahead and get into the next platform. So the next platform I want to talk about is OneNotary. Now, OneNotary is a platform that has been around before. It's a platform that I've used before. I consider it a pretty good platform. Like when I'm telling people about platforms they should use, this is often one that I bring up. Now, I almost like in a lot of ways consider it a blueprint for a lot of platforms, only because if you've ever used OneNotary, and then you've used a lot of some of these newer platforms, you can tell that they've kind of based their general user experience off of what OneNotary has built, if that makes sense. Like I feel a lot of them operate kind of like how OneNotary is. And I don't know if they're just kind of like copying the homework of OneNotary or not, but since that was the platform I knew of first, it kind of just seems like people are using it as a template, which is fine. I think they do a good job at what they do, so why reinvent the wheel? Just go ahead and use something that's already here. But I think that is a testament to how well OneNotary is set up. Now let's go ahead and let's talk through pricing, of course. So for pricing, there's a few different kinds. There's like a basic plan, there's a professional plan, there's different types of plans that you can get, but we'll just go ahead and talk off the basic notary plan. So for the basic plan, it is $0 per month to sign up, which I love. So there's no monthly fee, there's no sign up fee, no setup fee. It is $13 for the first seal, plus $5 for each additional. It's $5 for each additional signer, and a $30 flat fee for loan signings. And in this case, you can charge your client whatever you want. You can, change the fees, you can add different fees and things like that when it comes to the platform itself. So as far as availability goes, it is available on these states that I will go ahead and just flash on the screen. I want to say it's like 12 to 13 states that it's currently available in, but I'll just go ahead and I will put those on the screen. So let's talk through some of the pros. So some of the pros that I like is you can charge, of course, the client on or off platform, which I think is great. You can add additional fees or custom fees before you go into the session. They have a very comprehensive knowledge base, and they actually have a really good marketing checklist that they have. So if you're on OneNotary, check out their additional resources, because there's a checklist that they provide of all the different ways and places that you can market yourself. And I think it's really good when you're first starting out, because that's the number one question that I get is, where should I advertise myself? Where should I market myself? And they've kind of already built a checklist. So I do like their additional resources. And another thing that you may not know about is if you scroll down kind of to the bottom, and it says that they're essentially hiring notaries, and I'll say that in quote unquote. So you can actually apply to be a notary for them on a contractual basis. So they're looking for people to do general notary work and to do loan signings. So it's different than a platform that gives you clients, in the sense that those platforms tend to be kind of like gig economized, you know what I mean? Where it's you kind of log on and you just get things as they pop up. This is more of you're kind of applying and you officially kind of be a contractor with them, where they'll pass you some assignments. So it's kind of less on demand like that, and a little bit more formal, but that is an opportunity. So check that out. I'll definitely make sure to link that in the description. And if it's something where you want to apply to do general notary work with them or loan signings with them, you can go ahead and do that. I would imagine that they're only selecting a few people to do it, or just not as many people to do those sort of things, but that opportunity is there, and so I do consider that a pro. A con though is the transaction fee is a little bit higher, right? It's higher than some of the other platforms that you'll see, and they charge per first seal and additional seal. So $13 for the first seal, $5 for the additional seal. It's a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher than I would typically like to go, but I do think the platform has a lot of stuff going for it. And if you go ahead and you get the professional plan, that's $25 a month, then those transaction fees do go down. So you have the opportunity to get them less, but you do need to pay per month if that is the case. Another platform that I want to get into is ENotaryLog. Now, this is a platform that I have done a dedicated video on. You know, I've met with some people in the company, they've done a demo, so feel free to check that out if you want a more in-depth review of the platform. But I like this platform a lot, and not just because I interviewed with them. I actually do like it a lot. I think it's pretty intuitive. I think it has a lot to offer, so let's talk pricing. So the current cost of it is $0 per month, $13 per session, and $5 for additional signer. So essentially what that means is it's just $13 per session, period. No matter how many seals, how many documents, how many whatever, it's just $13 per session, which makes this a fantastic platform to use, especially if you're doing loan signings, right? If you're doing a loan signing or you're doing multiple notarizations, only paying a flat fee of $13 makes this very affordable, I would say, for most people. Now, of course, if you're in a state that only allows you to charge $10 per seal, then using this platform for a one document, one seal transaction doesn't make any sense, but you can use it for a lot of other things. Like I said, I always suggest having more than one platform because some platforms are better than others for general notary work versus loan signing versus multiple documents and seals. And this is definitely a platform that I can see being very beneficial when you have more than one document and seal, regardless of how much you're allowed to charge in your state. So definitely something to check out if you are interested in it. Now, when it comes to availability, from what I hear and from the interview that I did with them, it's available in the majority of states that do have permanent run laws. And if it's not currently available in your state, I want to say that they were trying to get into every state that does have permanent run laws by October. So that's in the next month. So if it's not currently in your state, don't worry, it will be there shortly. Some of the pros is they index on customer service. Like, that is one of the biggest things that they stress is they all say they're in the people business, right? So they focus a lot on customer service. They focus a lot on making sure that you understand the platform, that you get the training that you need, that when you get on their platform, there's no question that you know how to operate it and help walk your client through it. So that I do like, because a lot of platforms, like Ron, is new for a lot of people. It's new to your signer. It's probably new to you. It can get confusing. So I like a platform that emphasizes training and customer service and making sure that you have the help that you need to have a successful transaction. They're a pretty comprehensive knowledge base, and it's customizably intuitive in the sense that there's a lot of things that you can customize on the platform, but they do it in a way that's fairly intuitive, so you're not just figuring out, like, what does this button do? Should I click it? Should I not? I think they do a pretty good job of adding a lot, but not making it feel overwhelming. Now, from a cons perspective, I will say for the just kind of single notarial seal, $13 per transaction would be a lot if you're only doing one document, one seal, right? If you're able to charge $25, okay, cool. But if you're only able to charge $10, it's gonna price you out. So again, I think this is a fantastic platform if you're doing more than one seal or more than one document, because it's capped out at $13, but it can price you out depending on how much you are able to charge. But definitely a platform that I would say look into, because at the end of the day, with no monthly cost, if you sign up and you don't end up using it, you didn't lose anything, right? Like, there's no money out of pocket. So you might as well sign up, try it out for a couple notarizations and see if you like it. The next platform I'm gonna talk about is a newer one called Astrean. I'm not exactly sure how to actually pronounce it, but one of the things that kind of sets this one apart, at least from me going over the website, is that it emphasizes the use of blockchain to provide secure transactions. So blockchain is essentially like the foundation of things that like crypto and NFTs are built off of. And speaking of crypto and NFTs, one of the value adds that they say they have is that they will give you NFTs. Like, I'm not gonna pretend to know anything about any of that, but I'll just read exactly what it says. So essentially says that, you know, our blockchain enabled platform provides users with non-fungible tokens that can be sold, traded, or redeemed for rewards. So that's supposed to be a value add for you, which you somehow as a notary will get some sort of NFT that you can then trade or do something with. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just gonna let you know that that is something that is advertised on their platform as a value add. Now, it's interesting, if you're reading through the platform, it talks a lot about just giving you so much value, right? Giving notaries so much value. You can tell that it was made with the intention of, giving you something that you haven't had before, whether it's training, marketing opportunities, bringing business to you, whatever it is, they want to do it all for notaries. My general first opinion is it's newer, and so they want to do it all, but they haven't done that yet, which let's see what it ends up being. I think this is one that's a little bit newer on the scene. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but it seems like a lot is still coming through the pipeline. So let's go ahead and talk pricing. Now, there are a couple different pricing plans. There's ones that are free that are $0 a month, and then there's other plans where you do pay per month, like premium plans, platinum plans, and everything else. When it comes to the $0 a month plan, with that, of course, you get access to do IPIN, RIN, RON, you get access to their notary knowledge base, and then when it actually comes to doing transactions, you do need to purchase credits for those transactions. Now, unfortunately, it didn't say how much it is for a transaction or how much those credits cost. I tried to kind of go through and make an account to see if I can figure out how much it would cost, but it didn't say it up front. So that is still kind of TBD, but it does look like it's going to be a credit-based system. At the very least, at least they don't charge you per month. Now, as far as availability goes, so far what it looks like, it is only available in these states right here, which are Alabama, Alaska, Hawaii, Kansas, Kentucky, and Maine. Those are very specific. I feel like typically when I see RON platforms available, like Kentucky and Maine or Alabama aren't typically the ones that I see it in, but those are the states that it's only available in. So if you're not in those states, you can't unfortunately use this platform. But let's go ahead and let's talk pros and cons. So some of the pros that I want to make sure I go over is, again, they really emphasize wanting to give the notaries everything they could get to help grow their business. You can tell that they really want to help notaries be successful. So they give you a free notarial website, which I think is dope. Who wants to go and have to source their own website? So they give you access to a free notary website. There's an online directory that you can add your business to. And they also market this Uber for Notaries marketplace, which is something that they're saying that will be coming down the pipeline. So there'll be a way for you to be able to advertise your business and get clients through this marketplace that will be launching. Again, the only reason that I did not add it to the hybrid side is because it hasn't launched yet. So I don't know what it's gonna look like. I don't know if it's going to change. I don't know any information about it. So I didn't want to add it as a company that provides you clients until I knew a little bit more, but just know that that is something that they're banking on when it comes to this platform. As far as cons say, it's kind of hard to know. I don't really know much about the platform. The credits thing, as you can probably already see, is not my favorite, but it just depends on how much it costs. So I'm curious to see what the credits actually will look like. Maybe I'll reach out to this company and see if I can do a dedicated video, because I am curious actually to know more about that, and especially the NFT side, because I don't know if you've seen, but the NFT market is not doing well. So it's is it a value add? Is it not a value add? How is that gonna work? So I don't really know. We'll see more. Let me know if you want me to do a dedicated video for this company. Now, a platform that I have to go through is Syngrafii. Now, if you saw my video for Notary.online, then you would know that Syngrafii is essentially the backbone of what Notary.online's platform will be. Now, Notary.online is a platform that's coming in the future. That's John Holder's platform. It's Dan Hubbard. I've done interviews with them in the past, but it's not launched yet. But they did say that they're partnering with Syngrafii to be able to give them technology to do RON. But Syngrafii actually already has its own kind of RON-enabled platform, and that's what I wanted to talk through, because after looking at it more, the cost is actually pretty good. So I'm like, if it's that great, why don't more people use it? So I'm a little bit interested in learning more, but let me tell you what I've found out so far. So essentially the way Syngrafii is there's 3 different types of platform. There's ink sign, ink seal, and then their video signing room. So they have a digital signature side of their platform. They have a side of their platform that allows you to put your notarial seal onto documents, and then they have their video signing room that allows you to record all of these actions taking place, and those all kind of work together to create their RON platform, although there are separate sides of the platform that you can use in their specific intended uses. So those all kind of come together to provide a RON platform. Now, when it comes to their actual pricing, that's where it gets interesting, because the way that they price it out is a little bit different, but the transaction cost, it's pretty good. So let's go into that. So you kind of pay per signing package, which is up to 15 pages. You pay per number of participants, per length of video, per video storage amount. But like I said, it's incredibly inexpensive. So for the most part, you pay about $9.50 per transaction for most of them. So you can look at the calculator and kind of tell you how much it's going to cost. But again, for a standard like one-page document with just you and the signer, one seal, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be, it's like $9.50. And they actually don't charge you per seal at all. It's solely based on, you know, how many packages you're doing in that session, how long the session is, and how many people are in it. But even as you like add on, maybe it's a 60-minute session, 90-minute session, whatever, it really doesn't add much like cost to it at all. So like I said, it's actually very affordable. And so I'm curious why more people don't use it. So that's the thing that I'm like, like, is it too good to be true? And why is that? But as far as availability goes, I don't know. I think this to me seems like a platform that would only be available in states that don't tell you specific platforms that you have to use, right? There's some states that say as long as your platform meets these compliance items, you can use it. And there's some states that say, no, you can only use these specific platforms. Now, on those states that say you can use these specific platforms, I've never seen Syngrafii listed on any of them before. Like, I wouldn't know about this platform unless I had done that video on notary.online. So I know for sure for states that list specific platforms, this is not on there. But as far from a compliance standpoint, this should meet all of the compliance items. Like, one of the pros of the platforms, one of the ways that they advertise themselves is being the most compliant platform out there. Like, they meet all the legal requirements when it comes to digital signing and, you know, remote online notarizations, etc. So I would imagine they would be compliant in your state. So that is a good thing. So another pro is that it actually makes the signer use their real signature, which is kind of their like proprietary thing that they have, right? When it's time for the signer to actually sign, it gets sent to their phone and they will sign it kind of using their finger. So then that way it's not them kind of typing their signature out or just choosing from a select already like preset templates or fonts. They have to physically kind of write it out. So it's supposed to be the most accurate representation of a signer's signature. So that is something that's a pro. As far as cons go, the only con is, one, of course, there's not a lot of information, but then also it's hard to say if the platform actually lives on Syngrafii's website or if you have to integrate it into your business. Because like I said, Notary Online is using it as kind of the base for their platform. So I'm not sure if you can use it like as an independent notary. Can I just use it on my own, or do I need to have some sort of website or business already that I have to integrate it into in order to use the platform? So that's the part that gets a little bit confusing. So more to come on that. So there are a couple honorable mentions when it comes to platforms. One is onlinenotary.us. So this is a platform, it's actually been around for a while, but there's just like no information on it. I talked about it in the first video I did on the previews, and I was like, I barely know anything, and I still barely know anything. I've reached out to this company so many times trying to get information about like pricing, where exactly it's available, how you can use it, and nada. So I'm sorry, I don't have any information on that platform, but I do know that it is one, so I'll still list it down in the description. And the other one that I definitely want to make sure I give an honorable mention to, and more of a shout out, is INotarize. So INotarize is a platform that will be launching by Vanessa Terry, who does like notary to notary. It's not launched yet from what I can tell, but they're starting to do some like demo events. I don't know what the platform looks like. I don't know anything about the platform, but she seems dope. I met her at the NNA conference, so I'm sure the platform will be equally as dope. So definitely check that out when that comes out. Hopefully it comes out this year, then that way you guys can get your hands on it. Now that is the end of the video. First of all, I know this was a long video. I know it. Like, I just felt it when I was talking that this had to be a long video. So hopefully I kept your attention. Do not worry. I am going to put timestamps in the video so that way you can kind of navigate to different platforms as you see fit, because maybe you don't care about all these platforms, maybe you only want to hear about a specific one. So I will put timestamps in there. Now, if you're going through this video and you're like, well, where's Notarize, where's Blue Notary, where are these other platforms? If it wasn't talked about in this video, it just means it'll be in next week's video because it meets one of the other platform categories, so do not worry. But hopefully when you watch this video, you saw a platform that you didn't hear of before, you got some information that's useful to you, and now you have a better idea of which platform actually works for you. So let me know in the comments, what's the favorite platform that you heard of from this video? Which one do you think is best for your business? Which one are you going to check out? Were any of these new? Were there any platforms that you feel like I missed in the independent category? And again, there will be a whole nother set of 13, 14 platforms that I'll go through next week. So don't worry if you feel like a platform is missing, but please, yeah, tell me all of your thoughts, comments, concerns, everything. And links will be in the description for these platforms and for other relevant information for these individual platforms. So please take a look in the description so you can get all that information you need. If you are looking for a list of these platforms listed out with all the information I just talked about, that actually will be available in the course that I will be putting out in the next however many weeks. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in next week's video. Take care, and thank you as always for watching.